Hi lovelies! Father's Day is just around the corner, and if you are looking for a delicious way to show dad just how much you care, then today you have come to the right place, because I am making these absolutely unbelievable smash burgers with a one-of-a-kind secret sauce you have to taste to believe. Now, this recipe was first introduced to me by my dear friends Michael and Cheryl, who are two of the best dinner party hosts that I know. Pretty much everything that they make tastes divine, but I have to say, these burgers were on a whole other level, and I have been dreaming of them ever since. Michael sent me the original inspiration for them, and it's actually another YouTuber named Guga. I'm going to link the original YouTube video in the description box below, because of course we always want to give credit where credit is due. But this method and this recipe is absolutely foolproof and makes for the most delicious burgers you have ever tasted. Don't believe me? You're going to have to give them a try for yourself. Now, to get started, we are going to be mixing up this one-of-a-kind secret sauce. It's really, really simple to prepare, but when you taste it, you're going to want to put it on everything. Seriously, take my word for it. It all starts with some ketchup in my bowl. To that, I am adding some mayonnaise. We've got a little more ketchup than mayonnaise, but pretty close to 1-to-1. Next, I'm going to add some mustard to this. I'm using Dijon mustard in this recipe because that's what I had on hand, but you could just as easily use yellow mustard if you want to. Next, I am going to add some Worcestershire sauce. And I have to say, if there's one secret to making this sauce incredible, the Worcestershire sauce is it. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. I always get a little nervous, a little anxious about my pronunciation of Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire sauce, or as they say in the UK, brown sauce. Keeps things really simple. My final ingredient here is optional, but so super delicious. It's a good splash of hot sauce. Now, I'm using just typical Tabasco here, but you really can use any kind of hot sauce that you love. You could use some sriracha if you wanted to, or some Frank's Red Hot here would be great. Basically, just something to give it a little bit of a kick. And what we're going to do is just use our spatula to mix this all together until it's well combined. And what you have is this amazing sauce that you're just going to want to put on everything. Seriously, this is about to become your go-to. You know what this sauce is actually really good with? French fries. French fry dipping, never tasted better. Okay, our amazing sauce is ready. We're gonna set this aside and get to work on prepping our burgers. Now, the secret to a really great burger, as you probably know already, is really great ground beef. Now, I always recommend ground beef that's got a fat content of at least 20%. The more fat in your burger, the more flavor there is going to be. Now, since I'm going to be making smaller slider-style burgers, I'm going to be dividing 1 pound of ground beef into 6 patties. If you wanted larger burgers, you could definitely do 3 or 4 patties instead. Essentially, all we want to do is take the beef in our hands and make a ball with it. You don't want to overpack it because you want there to be nice air in between the layers of your beef, and you don't want this to be too dense. That's not what we're looking for. As you probably noticed, I'm not adding anything to this beef. No breadcrumbs, no egg, no additional seasonings. And that is because I really want to let that beefy flavor come through all on its own. And the best way to do that is to just leave the beef as it is. I'm just going to form my final bowl here. And after a much needed hand wash, I am going to get these on the griddle and get them smashed. Unlike traditional burgers, which are often cooked on a grill, we are going to be cooking our smash burgers on either a griddle top or a cast iron pan. What you want is a nice flat surface to smash your burgers on. That way, you're going to get amazing browning and caramelization, which leads to a ton of awesome flavor. Trust me, guys, I would not lead you astray. One of the most important parts when you are making smash burgers like this is to ensure that your griddle or your cast iron pan is super, super hot when the meat touches it. That way you're going to get the best browning. You also want to start by adding just a little drizzle of oil to your skillet and then sort of wiping it around with a paper towel. You want to make sure that your cast iron is well seasoned so your burgers are less likely to stick. As soon as that cast iron is nice and hot, I am going to get 2 of my burgers into the pan, and then I am going to use a nice flat spatula like this one to smash them down. That's why we call these smash burgers. By doing this, you end up with these amazing sort of scraggly bits around the edges that get super caramelized and crisp and have even more amazing flavor. Once you've got your burgers amply smashed, you can go ahead and season them up with just a little sprinkle of salt. At this point, you don't need to touch them at all. You'll want to let them cook for, say, 2 to 4 minutes until they turn nice and dark brown on the underside, and that's when you know it's time to flip them. Once they've been flipped, you can go ahead and season the other side with a little more salt. And at this point, we are ready to add our cheese. Now, of course, there are tons of different cheeses that you could add to a burger. But if you want to make these extra delicious and super authentic, you want to use processed American cheese. I know, I can hear your gasps already. Usually I'm a total cheese purist, but when it comes to grilled cheese and burgers, there is only one way to fly, and that is with American cheese. So just embrace it and go for it, because nothing else melts quite like it. Basically, I'm just going to add a slice of cheese to each of my burgers, and then what I like to do is just pop a lid on top. This is going to help your cheese get nice and melty without overcooking your burger, which is exactly what we want. As soon as that cheese is melted, we can remove our burgers from the skillet, and then we'll just repeat this process, smashing and cooking until all of our burgers are ready. Now, when it comes to selecting your buns for these burgers, of course, there are tons of great options out there, but my personal favorites are these mini brioche slider buns. I love brioche because it's got just a touch of natural sweetness in it, so it really complements the sort of savory flavors in the burger. And basically, to construct our burgers, we are just going to pile on a nice layer of that amazing sauce that we made. And then I am going to add 1, maybe 2 of my yummy patties. We're gonna have nice high stacked sliders. If you wanna skip the toppings entirely here, you absolutely can. These burgers don't need anything extra to be amazing. But if you wanna keep things simple, a little bit of shredded lettuce is always great, maybe a slice of tomato, and that's it. That is a serious burger. These burgers are absolutely outrageous, guys, and the perfect way to show your dad how much you care. I hope you will try them for yourselves and that you love them as much as I do. If you do give them a try, don't forget to tweet me, Instagram me, or Facebook me a photo, because I always love seeing your kitchen creations. Remember, the full recipes are linked in the description box below. And finally, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe, because there is lots more deliciousness where this came from. Happy Father's Day!